Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin. I am at the May 2025 Metals Investor Forum. It's May 9th. We're in Vancouver. I'm here with Darwin Green, and I don't even know what the hell your title is. Are you the chairman?
Executive chairman.
Executive chairman, okay. He's the executive chairman of a company called Onyx Gold, which I'm hoping a bunch of my subscribers already know about. I know some of them do. They're pretty happy. Onyx, which trades just as ONYX, just the way it's spelled up here, and ONYGF on the QX in the US. Onyx has got holdings in the Yukon and outside of Timmins in Ontario, and it's the Timmins stuff we're going to talk about. They announced a discovery hole like 3 weeks ago, I think, give or take. Very nice hole, almost 70 meters, about 3 grams. Unlike some other stories lately, I mean, the market definitely likes this drill hole. I mean, not only have they gone from low 20s to they were trading over $1 this morning, well over $1 actually. But you just announced a financing on really good terms. Both the strategic placement and the charity were like well above what the price was when it was announced. And that was popular enough that they announced an upsize last night. So, you know, $11 million, not much dilution. I mean, you guys are good to go. And I think the drills, they're just there, right?
It's there. It's just set up on hole 163. We're re-entering that and ready to go.
Okay, yeah. Like big drill program, lots of results. So do you want to walk us through how this discovery sort of came to be?
Yeah, I guess it depends how far back you want me to go. But, yeah, you know, I think it is important to lay context and framework to it. You know, this is, I like to call it a premeditated discovery. We don't know how big it's going to be yet or how significant it's going to be, but we're pretty happy with what we're seeing. And really it all started with looking at Timmins and thinking Timmins is long overdue for a new discovery. It's been a while since there's been guys looking for brand new things there. Lots of people go back and, you know, go back to the same old, but we thought we wanted to make a true greenfields discovery in a brownfields district, and we thought there was no better place than Timmins. It's, you know, it's the land of giants. It's produced more gold than anywhere else in Canada. And when we looked at it, we saw that there were some pretty big tracts of land that were almost totally unexplored in a relative sense, and each for different reasons. And so where this is, we have 3 big properties. There's Timmins South, which is just south of Timmins. There's Gold Mile, which is on this, what we call the Giant Mine Corridor, sort of northeast of Timmins. And then there's our Munro-Croesus project. And it's, you know, it's about 75 kilometers to the east of Timmins proper. And there's multi-million ounce deposits around us and past mines and production in this area. And a bunch of little small kind of historic ones, including Croesus, which you'll recall, big high grade, well, not big deposit, but incredibly rich high grade gold.
Crazy high grade number.
Yeah, but it had been held back from exploration because it was a fragmented package of land. These claims that were all staked back at the 1909 type thing, and they've been held in these family estates. And I've talked about it with you before, but we went out to consolidate, and we consolidated, because you need big pieces of property to actually find new things. You don't really know where that deposit's going to be. And so that's what we did. We were able to cultivate that and let it mature without the pressure of having to rush it to market too soon, in a way, because it was, some of that work was originally started in a precursor company. Right. So yeah, I mean, that's the backstory. And first, you know, underexplored part of Timmins that had all the signs of it being a good place to look. And we'd actually made a discovery earlier on what's called the Argus Main, and market didn't care. It was like 135 meters of a half gram. We were taking these big, bold step outs, 100-meter step outs. As we took it west, we were seeing better grade, 20 meters of a gram, 60 meters of a gram, with some higher, you know, plus 10 meters of plus 2 grams in there. Nice system, but not really enough to ignite the market. And it was one of those holes that we extended north. And it's kind of a funny story, but in that basically the driller, you know, our geologist actually went out to the drill to shut it down. You know, we were testing a zone that was here, and you know, we're drilling above it, below it, and we had to shut down this point. But we always send our geologists out to look at the rock before we actually shut down the drill hole. He said, "This looks pretty good," and so we let them drill through the night, and they had a really good shift. They drilled, you know, and lo and behold, we have a 70 meter zone of 3.5 grams, and internal to that, there's 34, 35 meters of 5.5 grams, and it's a nice zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So that's the backstory.
yeah, the market, and now I mean, are you doing geophysics or is it just drilling? You're just going to step out?
Yeah, I mean, we will ultimately, but we don't need to overthink this in a way. Like, we still don't fully know the geometry, but we've got a pretty good read on, because we've got this other zone that we've tracked out over 700 meters and over 200 meters. That's pretty east-west and pretty steep dipping. So we expect this will be pretty similar. And so the first order business, because we more or less ended in mineralization, we just got out of it. First thing we're doing is re-entering that hole.
Right.
And pushing it further to see, not that we need more than 70 meters at 3.5 grams, but you got to find out if it's 100 or 150 meter zone. So we're going to push that out, extend that hole. We're going to re-enter a couple of holes below that stop just like literally meters away from where the zone should have been, and extend those. Then we're going to go above it. Right now it's down about 200 meters from surface. And they're great underground mineable grades. I mean, Young Davidson's down 1.5 kilometers, 2 kilometers, mining 2 grams gold. But so great underground mining grades, but they'd be fabulous open pit grades, right? And so there's no reason to think it doesn't go to surface. We don't know. We have to drill.
There's not a lot of outcrop in this part of the
No, actually, it's interesting. Is our Argus Main has decent outcrop, but we just got a little bit north and it falls off, so we don't know what's above us there. It's a thin overburden, which is nice if it does come to surface. But that's the first, do that first section, extend the holes, go below it, and then work your way up to the top, and then step out either side. We're going to probably do a 50-meter section out this way, 50-meter section out this way, 50-meter center holes, to kind of frame in, understand what the geometry is, the orientation thing, what shape it has, how deep it is, and then from there we're going to scale out. And with the funds we have, I mean, we can drill all year. We're well set up to hit this hard.
Yeah, and I'm not an advocate of it, but I'm just out of curiosity. I mean, you and I talked, and I know certainly before this placement was announced, I don't think you had a lot of, I mean, you're going to do some work in the Yukon, but I don't think you had a lot of plans to drill there, because it's a really freaking expensive place to drill. I mean, does $11 million make you want to do it, or are you still just like, nah, let's keep the drill in Timmins?
Yeah, well, bringing it back to that, we have the option to do it.
Yeah.
So with that financing that we did, we've had a senior producer come in and put a sizable chunk of cash in, and we did a flow through alongside of it where we had good back end buyers, quality institutions, and of that flow through, we actually kept a certain part available for what we call national flow through versus Ontario focus for flow through. We can spend that money. The national you can spend anywhere. The Ontario you can only spend in Ontario. So the idea was give us the flexibility to have a bit of money if we wanted to. If we want to do a little bit of work up there initially just to see things, and if we're blown away by the surface work, maybe. But all reality right now, I think the market's pretty focused. We're pretty focused. We've got feels like a tiger by the tail, and that's going to be our energy. And $200 a meter all-in drill cost. That's a hell of your dollars go so far.
Yeah.
Timmins,
Yeah, the Yukon is not $200 a meter.
No.
It's more like $1,000 a meter. So, no, I mean, it makes sense to me. I'm not advocating drilling in the. I mean, I don't have a problem if you do, but I totally agree that Timmins is what the market gives a shit about.
Yeah,
like that's how it is.
But you love all your children, right? It's just one of those things, and like all of these assets used to be in a former company, and we couldn't get to them because all of our dollars kind of had to go one place. We were able to mature them, bring them along, and I think Yukon has tremendous potential. It's just a matter of timing and how, and there might be some other creative things we can do with it. There's real fundamental value and opportunity there. But yeah, I mean, when you have, it's a really fun place to be. It's in a weird place to be where you've only got one hole into it, right? Like most things, you do this as part of a program, but this was a bit of a one-off in terms of where it extended out, completely unconstrained. It's associated with a big 700 meter by 2000 meter footprint already that's open itself. A few kilometers long trend, there's a plus 4 million ounce deposit sitting in exactly the same setting, long trend. And you go further along trend, there's 12, 13 million ounces. And so you're like, and just to the south of us is McEwen Mining and their actual operating mine just across the highway. And so, there's a real chance to grow this thing. And when you add up all the pieces that we see, it just, when you get that consistency of grade over those kind of widths, that's atypical. And, by
Yeah, I
as
mean, 70 meters of 3.5 grams is pretty unusual for Timmins, right?
it
That's not
is. I mean, you might get 3 meters of 15 grams, and then you don't see it in the next hole over, or that sort of thing. Or you might get 100 meters of 0.8 grams. But this is a really nice. It's the kind of stuff that you can mine very happily to depth. And what that does, you look at all these open pit type sub 1 gram systems. They all have a vertical depth constraint. Like how deep can you take the pit to keep them economic? Say that's 300 meters. Say 350 meters. Well, you get it over 2 grams, all of a sudden you can mine down 1,500, 2 kilometers in the right environment. And that gives you, 5 times the amount of gold endowment potential, right? In a way, like if you think of it just in that terms, you can, take everything you see up here and grow it, as well as having the stuff that's pittable. So I like that. I like just the way the mineralization is throughout the rock. It's not like a couple of veins that you're spreading through it. There's a lot to like about it. There's been a lot of interest on a lot of different levels, and I think it speaks to a bit of its uniqueness that way. So yeah, it's a fun place to be. I mean, it's obviously the drills are going to tell the story, and the good thing is we can get right after it and we can fund it. It's fully funded, and we're getting right after it right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Onyx is such a great story is these guys are moving very fast. I mean, and that's part of the reason why the stock's had so much momentum is, these guys got warrant exercise, which gave them some comfort, and then they're doing this place, and they only announced this intercept like 3 weeks ago or something. The drill's back on the property, so that kind of movement and that kind of momentum has really helped the stock a lot. It's not as cheap as it was a month ago, but it's a discovery story. I mean, it's a great intercept. I mean, does it go in every direction? Like, who the hell knows? I mean, that's why you drill these things. But truth of the matter is if that intercept is indicative of what the zone looks like, and they can start hitting stuff like that, 50 meters, 100 meters in each direction, discovery stories can get a lot more expensive fast. And I know Onyx is trading at $1, and that's probably spooking a lot of people. But and I'm not saying there's no risk. I mean, drill specs are always high risk, but if this intercept is actually indicative of what a larger zone looks like, it's not going to be $1 for long. I mean, you will definitely see a lot more movement if they can keep putting out holes like this. Great story. Onyx Gold, ONYX on the venture. Darwin Green, the executive chairman. Thanks for coming by, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric.